always the #1 fan. Growing up, there was this game show called Endurance! 20 teenagers, 1 island, who has the ultimate endurance. And at the age of 4 years old, I had already found my purpose in life. But that purpose was put into question when the show was canceled after I turned 8. So, like any good Christian would do, dear God, please bring endurance back. I did that for 5 years. The show didn't come back. So I knew what I needed to do. I was going to bring endurance back myself. But what surprised me is that my friends weren't as supportive as I had expected them to be. A lot of them were saying things like, how can a 13-year-old bring back a game show? And it is that question which leads me to my main concern. We live in a society that thrives on pushing others down, where we learn to doubt others and ourselves before taking a chance on the unknown. And this mentality is only hurting us. For when we are unable to see the possibilities that come with new ideas from new generations, we lose every opportunity we had to become united. In order to move forward, we must be able to support people that are different from us. And that support can't be fake. It has to be real, like a #1 fan. So first, we'll turn on the TV and watch the historical results of #1 fans. Then we'll pray to understand the effects of being a #1 fan before finally embracing what and who we love in our efforts to become #1. Now, the first step to becoming the #1 fan is understanding why you love something so much. Fans make an impact on our society, and that's all it takes to become famous, a fan base. Which is why most people don't know the story of Claudette Colvin. On March 2nd, 1955, Claudette Colvin, a 15-year-old high school student, refused to give up her bus seat to a white passenger. Now, you might be thinking Rosa Parks already did that, but Rosa Parks didn't have her famous sit-down until December 1st, 9 months after Claudette Colvin. So why didn't she receive as much credit? I soon realized this was just a result of society being a fan. Colvin states in an interview that the NAACP felt Parks would be a good icon because she was an adult. They didn't think teenagers would be reliable. They obviously didn't have the same teens that we have here in Parkland. But the fact is, Rosa Parks was more relatable to more people. And we know this is true because numerous studies have shown that the more similar you are to a person, the more you like them. And all that shows is that age can, and always has been, a barrier. But what's interesting about that is that, according to Saul McLeod from the University of Manchester, children are surrounded by many influential models and encode their behavior. And a study conducted by the University of Twente further explains that copying behavior is more likely to happen when people perceive themselves similar to the model. Now, despite these so-called age barriers, as children, we have role models that we look up to, and we literally copy their behavior because we like them so much. That's why it's so important that our president or celebrities are good role models for our children, because they will literally copy everything they do. And I understand it might seem unprofessional for me to label the civil rights movement as a fandom, but that's essentially what it was. All movements, whether they be political or social, are dependent upon the amount of people who believe in them. Therefore, the difference between somebody who supports equality and somebody who is a fan of equality is non-existent, because they're the exact same thing. Fans control movements. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. Now, you can be a fan of Rosa Parks or Claudette Colvin just because of who they were. But the fact is, you're a fan of what they did, and they both sat down for social justice, despite being in completely different generations. Age barriers, no, all barriers are broken by shared interests. We just need to look a little harder and a little longer to find them. But relatability is not the only reason we become fans. Another reason is because it acts as a form of psychological bonding by teaching us to become more empathetic. In other words, making friends. Back home, the Utah Jazz is a big deal because they suddenly got good. And you know, when you're walking down the street and see somebody wearing a Utah Jazz hat and you're like, hey! And they're like, hey! And all of a sudden, despite being absolute strangers, there's an immediate connection. Just because we support the same team. And that connection is mandatory in order to becoming more empathetic. Like J.K. Rowling, when she heard the tragic story of one of her biggest fans, Cassidy Stay. On July 9th, 2014, Cassidy Stays Home was invaded by her ex-uncle. This invasion resulted in the deaths of Cassidy's parents and her 4 younger siblings, leaving Cassidy as the lone survivor of a family of 7. At the funeral, Cassidy was found quoting from Harry Potter, stating that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. When J.K. Rowling heard of this, she wanted to help in any way she could. So she gave Cassidy what any number 1 fan could possibly want: an official acceptance letter into Hogwarts, her own wand, and a personalized letter. And while this generosity might seem insignificant due to what was lost, all it shows is the comfort that we can provide when we embrace our humanity and choose to be empathetic. We don't say, "I feel bad for you." We say, "I feel bad with you." Now is the time for you to become the number 1 fan by choosing to look behind you at everybody who has ever supported you. I learned how to be the number 1 fan from 2 people, Paul and Jamie, my parents. See, I was adopted by Paul and Lauren, and then they got a divorce, and Paul met and married Jamie. But for the longest time, I just called Jamie, Jamie, not Mom. I was just uncomfortable. See, I was put up for adoption before I was born. I'm not really supposed to be here. And then the divorce happened, and now that mom's out of the picture, and my birth father doesn't know that I exist. I mean, what were the chances of keeping these 2? And I was so wrapped up in how much I hated myself that I couldn't see how much my parents loved me. Dad, who fought for custody of my sister and me. Dad, who taught me how to stand up for myself. Dad, who told me every day, "If you get in trouble for defending yourself or a friend, I will never be mad at you." So in 8th grade, when a kid got my face saying, "What are you going to do?" I showed him exactly what I would do. 10 minutes later, I was in the office crying after starting a fight, after turning myself in. And then there was Jamie, who taught me to believe in myself. Jamie, who always told me all of your dreams are possible if you work hard. Jamie, my mom, who when asked if we could build a roller coaster in our house, she told me that when we have enough money, we will. I'm still waiting for that roller coaster. But I have something even better. My own number 1 fans. And that's why number 1 fans are so great. It doesn't matter what mistakes you make, your true fans, or friends, or family, will always be there for you. Which made me realize that if every child had good, wholesome, loving number 1 fans like my parents, there would be an immediate decrease in what's going on in the world. Now, this isn't to suggest that role models or parents should be held accountable for the actions of one person, but the fact is, children are surrounded by many influential models and encode their behavior. So, to all of my fans, especially Mom and Dad, I just want to say thank you. Being the number 1 fan has changed my life. And it's made me realize that all the problems we're facing today can be easily solved by doing 3 things. First, like all fans, we need to have discussions. You never know what barriers can be broken once you find something in common. Second, when having these discussions, you need to ask why. Everybody has a specific reason for caring about the things that they love, and when you ask, you're showing that you care. And I promise they'll tell you. But even then, discussing and asking why still isn't enough, because in the end, you need to listen. Allow people to change you, because we're all in this together. Now, about endurance. As of right now, I've been discussing with a copyright lawyer about purchasing the rights to the show. And I've already looked into a couple broadcasting studios I can pitch the show to get it back on air. People know I'm doing this, but nobody knows why. So I'll tell you. Endurance taught me that life isn't about me, and it's not about you. It's about all of us becoming one.